Okay, I'm about to make Japanese milk bread. So there's two different loaves that I'm gonna make. This is the small loaf. This is the pan for the small loaf. And this is the pan for the large loaf. I'm about to make the large loaf first. The large loaf. The 1.5. So what I did was I added. So what I'm gonna do. Is in a large bowl. I'm gonna add 250 grams of warm water. That's 105 degrees Fahrenheit. 250 grams of warm water. Then I'm gonna add 20 grams of sugar. Seven grams of kosher salt. Seven grams of instant yeast. And 10 grams of maple syrup. You can use honey as well, but I'd rather use maple syrup. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna whisk all these ingredients together. I'm gonna whisk all these ingredients together. Make sure it's incorporated. Then I'm gonna let this proof for maybe about 15 or 20 minutes. I'm gonna cover it and let it proof. So what I did was I heated my oven. Well, some ovens have a proofing setting, but mine doesn't. So I heated it. It's hot inside the oven. Now I'm just gonna leave it in the oven for about 15, 20 minutes until it gets foamy. Now while that's in the oven, proofing, what I did was I added this is 350 grams of bread flour. So now I'm gonna add 20 grams of skim milk powder. So I'm just going to add 20 grams of skim milk powder. Then I'm just going to whisk all the dry ingredients together. And then I'm going to just wait until my yeast is ready and has already been proofed. And I'm going to add my yeast to my bowl. Okay, my yeast is ready because you can see the bubbles in it. I let it proof in the oven. So now I'm just going to add it to my mixture. Okay, my yeast is ready because you can see the yeast bubbles. So now I'm just going to add it to my mixture. I'll clean my plate and add it to my mixture. once I get it to a certain point, I'll just start kneading it by hand. Yeah, I'm just going to knead it by hand. I can knead it by hand at this point. I'm just going to knead it by hand. It's a little sticky, so I'm going to add just a little bit of flour, not too much. It's a little sticky. Add just a little bit of flour. I'm just going to knead my dough until it's nice and smooth and doesn't stick to my hand anymore. And that's almost about smooth. It's almost to the point where it doesn't stick to my hands anymore. I'm just going to add a little bit more flour. Didn't need that much flour, just a little bit. Okay, now see that dough doesn't stick to my hand, so that's about smooth enough. Yep, this is smooth enough. Doesn't stick to my hand. See, when I pat it, doesn't stick to my hand, so that's smooth enough. Actually, I'm sorry. Before I put away my loaf, I want to take 2 tablespoons of butter. This is the first loaf. Before I put away my first loaf, I want to take 2 tablespoons of butter. And I want to mash up my butter. Nice and, I want to cream it, and then I want to just kind of incorporate it into my dough. Cream it and just kind of incorporate it into my dough by hand. Make sure it's fully incorporated into my dough. And again, this is my first loaf. Yep, I'm just going to cream that butter and just incorporate it into my dough and knead it into my dough until I don't see any more traces of it. Again, that's 2 tablespoons of butter. And if I need to add more flour, I can do that. You know, once the butter is incorporated, I can add just a little bit more flour to it. That's after the butter is fully incorporated into it. I can just add it a little bit more flour. Until it's not sticky. Just add more flour so it's not sticky. After I've incorporated the butter into it. Okay, and that's what you want. That's for the first loaf. That's the finished product of the first loaf. The large one, the 1.5. So I'm gonna make sure I put my my first loaf into my bread pan and close it and let it proof in the and I'm gonna let this proof while I'm making the other loaf. The loaf that I'm proofing is the 1.5, the large loaf. So it will go into this pan, the large pan right here. That's the one that I'm proofing. Okay, so now I'm making the small shokupan loaf that goes in the small bin. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add 250. Oh no, I'm sorry, 160 grams of warm water that's at 105 degrees. Then I'm gonna add 5 grams of instant yeast. 14 grams of sugar, of just normal granulated sugar. Five grams of kosher salt. And 7 grams of maple syrup. You can use honey as well. Seven grams of maple syrup. Then I'm just going to mix. I'm going to whisk. I'm going to whisk my mixture together. And I'm going to let this proof in the oven. Or I'm sorry, I'm going to let this proof for about maybe 15 or 20 minutes as well, like I did the first time. And like I said, my oven doesn't have a proofing setting, so I just heated the oven up, and I'm just gonna cover this and just let it sit in my oven that's warm, but it's off. It's not heat. I'm gonna let it sit there for about 15 minutes. Okay, so my yeast is ready for my smaller for this shokupan loaf, because as you can see, it's foamy. You can see all the foam on it. It's ready. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add. I've added 200. This is 235 grams of bread flour. So now I'm gonna add 14 grams of skim milk powder. I'm just weighing out my powder. My skim milk powder. 14 grams of skim milk powder. $14 grams of skim milk powder. And then I'm just going to mix that skim milk powder and I'm going to incorporate it into my bread, or into my dough. I'm just going to whisk everything in and incorporate everything into my dough. Then I'm just going to add my yeast. I'm going to add my yeast water mixture. I'm just going to do it by hand. And I'll just add additional flour if necessary. Just going to knead it. Okay, and that's perfect. I don't even need to even add any flour to that. Just going to knead it until it's smooth, doesn't stick to my finger. Okay, so then I'm going to let this rise for 45 minutes. I'm going to let both of my doughs rise for 45 minutes. See, this is my large dough right here that's been rising already. That's my large dough. This is my small shokupan dough. So does both my dough. I'm just going to let them each rise for 45 minutes, and that's the first phase of your Japanese milk bread.